Let's talk about the next discipline that I think is important, and that's persistence. And if there's anything I've learned from the successful real estate entrepreneurs I've been around, it's that they never quit. They never give up. And it's the nature of the business, high risk, high reward. It's kind of the nature of the business that there will be times when you need to persevere. Every time a deal knocks you down, you got to get back up. It'll knock you down again, back up, back up, back up, back up. Sooner or later, whatever knocking you down gets tired and goes and knocks somebody else down. And that's the theory. You know, I brought along this quote from Calvin Coolidge. I know he was president of the United States. I don't know what number. I don't know what he was famous for. But I read this quote, and I subscribed to it 100%, and I thought it said it better than I could. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. And I subscribe to that, and I tell you that if you get into this business I'm describing of trying to add value and boost your investment, you know, the value of your investment, you're going to have to persevere. There will be times when you will be tested, and you just have to be ready for it. And here's how I was tested. Here's a deal that almost took me right off the real estate map and put me back into practicing law. I bought a building in Shelton, Connecticut. It was 110,000 square feet. It had a tenant in the building, an industrial tenant, 6 more months to go on the lease. The building was not zoned for retail, but I thought I could turn it into retail, knock it down, build a little strip center. I knew the town would be in favor, and so I bought the building for $6 million without any rezone and with the tenant having only 6 months to go on its lease. And I took it to the city zoning offices, and I was successful. I got it zoned retail. So I'm sort of patting myself on the back. Boy, am I really smart, blah, blah, blah. The next day, I get sued. I get sued by the property owner across the street. It's another strip shopping center, and he doesn't want any competition. So he sues me claiming that the zoning change that I got from industrial to retail was obtained inappropriately. And he lets it be known, and he even tells the sheriff to tell me this, tell this guy Randel I'm going to hold him up in court for 10 years. That's a terrible position to be in when you're a developer. You don't know what you can or can't do. You don't know whether you can go forward with your project. You could lose in court. Banks aren't going to give you financing. Tenants aren't going to come in and lease space. It's really a bad situation. And so I say to myself, but wait a minute. Calvin Coolidge said, you got to persevere. You got to persist. You can't let these things keep you down. So I go into my office. I make a list of 10 things I'm going to do to solve this problem. So I make my little list. Talk to property owner across the street. I go to see him. Hey, Mr. Jones, really, I know you brought this lawsuit. There must be a way we can work this out. Randel, like I told the sheriff, 10 years. I'll see you in court for 10 years. So I get nowhere with him. So I go to the city. I say, this guy's just doing this because he doesn't want more retail in the city. It's not our problem. And every idea I have, I'm getting nowhere. Now my industrial tenant's lease is up, and I'm carrying the building at an amount of $50,000 a month. And that can get old very, very quickly. And now I'm starting to doubt Calvin Coolidge. So I go the next day. I make another list. Come up with all these great ideas how I'm going to solve the problem. Nothing. I'm getting nowhere fast. Next day, same thing. But you know what? And I got to stop telling this story because I can feel how my heart's going fast. This was an awful time. But I didn't quit. And I don't know why I didn't. Maybe because I couldn't. I couldn't afford to. It would have taken me off the map. Because, $50,000. Then the bank forecloses. Now you got an empty building that's kind of in a quagmire. Maybe it's worth who knows what. The deficiency on the loan they'd come after me. So, you know, that was a real bad situation, but I didn't quit. And one day I'm talking to our lawyer about the zoning appeal, and I say to the lawyer, what's the deal on this? Can he just hold me up for 10 years? And the lawyer says, look, the law in Connecticut says if he's within 100 feet of your property, he has an inviolate right to bring a zoning appeal, and it has to be decided on the merits. You can't move for what's called a summary judgment, which is a quick dismissal. So I say, well, maybe it's not 100 feet. So we walk, he's right across the street. We walk the asphalt, 90 feet. That idea is no good. But then I think, well, maybe, just maybe, the paved area doesn't define the property boundary. So I get a surveyor out there, and you want to know what? 110 feet separated us. Yes! Calvin Coolidge was right. You gotta stay with it. And because of that 10 feet difference, I was able to get the zoning appeal dismissed. 10-foot difference. And only because I got that surveyor out there. That was like number 116 on my list of things to do. But I still am not out of the woods. I got an empty building. I've been completely gridlocked. So I keep at it. Like a week later, I hear some sirens in the town near the building. And I go home and I watch the news, and there was a fire just like 2 miles away of a big industrial building. So I'm thinking, maybe, just maybe, I can find a way to go find whoever was in that building and see if they want to occupy our building for a short period of time while their building's being rebuilt. So completely shameless, I go to the building. I mean, how awful is this? Somebody's there, their building's burning down. They're out of business, and I'm there with a business card. Completely shameless, but Calvin Coolidge is to blame as far as I'm concerned. And I go talk to the guy, and I say, gee, I'm really sorry, and blah, blah, blah. He rents my building for a year, just what I needed to get back on my feet, to get the site plan approvals, to get the financing, to get my contractor and tenants all lined up. And by persevering when I thought I had run out of options, by just scrapping and scrapping and scrapping, I was able to survive. I will tell you, I lost about $1.5 million on the deal, because by the time I was able to wriggle my way out of this, I had really carried it for an awful long time and the building was empty. I'd now like to conclude this evening with sort of the story that put me on the map. This is a happy ending story. And this is the last discipline that I've seen successful entrepreneurs employ, and it's what I call, for lack of a better term, optimism. But sort of a realistic optimism. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to see the glass half full, not half empty. You can always see the negatives, but if you're going to get in there and swing at the ball, you got to think to yourself, you know what, there's a chance I could hit it out of the park. Now, this is a deal I did early in my career, and I had all the energy and all the ardor and all the sort of almost naivete of youth, and you'll see that as I tell the deal. But carrying that sort of energy and ardor and naivete forward has made many more successful deals for me in my career.